Hey there, my name is Austin Scott. Today we're going to be talking about how newbies and vets just don't mesh well and how the vets always are strategically better than the newbies. The newbies have an uphill battle whenever they face the vets because you gotta think about it. These shows bring back the legends. They're not bringing back these average players. If someone is getting asked back to be on one of the shows, it's one because they either played a masterful game or they were super entertaining. Most of the time for Survivor, it's masterful game. Sometimes on Big Brother, it was more entertaining. You think of someone like Devon. Devon is just an amazing personality for TV, but she got second place her Big Brother season, and then they brought her back. Then you got someone like Nicole. Nicole was just an average player. She got out twice in the same season. Then she came back and she won her season. Let's just look at the stats from Big Brother alone on newbies and vet seasons. Season 13, you've got Rachel. She came back her second season and won. Nicole came back her second season and won. Dan came back his second season, made second after winning the first time. Paul came back his second season and he got second place again. Kevin, Big Brother Canada, he came back, he won his second season. Anthony Douglas, one of the two vets that returned for the season, came back, got second place again. On Survivor, 3 of the seasons that were mixed between vets and newbies, 7 out of 8 of those players that were in the final tribal council were veterans. Only one person was a newbie in the final tribal council out of those 3 seasons where it was mixed. One of the most dominant games of all time, Boston Rob, when he was him and Russell, Boston Rob ended up going all the way to the end and won. Mark, in Australian Survivor, won his second season. When you get into shows like The Trader Season 1, when it was half newbies that don't know the game and then half vets that do know the game, what do you have? You have Sari dominating, being the sole winner. But these shows are bringing back legends. They're not bringing back average players. Deal or No Deal is a little bit trickier of a game to play because there is a lot more luck involved in terms of the actual betting against the banker. So I think the newbies do have a better chance at winning. Season 1, you have Boston Rob dominating a game even with a target on his back, getting 4th place and just being eliminated from a challenge alone. Now a lot of times it's because the shows set up the returning players with advantages. If they're going to be paying money for these returners to come back, they're going to make sure they get them in for a couple weeks. They ain't going to let them go day 1, night 1. And the reason why vets have such an upper hand in these games is 1, they know strategy, they're good players, but also they've learned from their mistakes. The statement practice makes perfect is true, and it applies to these shows as well. These contestants are coming in, and when it's their first time on the show, they're overwhelmed. Their senses are overwhelmed with all the cameras. It's not normal to them. They're overwhelmed by the hunger they face if it's like Survivor or the isolation from Big Brother. Yet these people that are coming back for second seasons, they've experienced all that. They know how to prepare for that. That's not a surprise to them, so they can solely focus on the gameplay and the strategy ahead. Not only that, when they come back onto these shows, they've had mistakes already made. They've learned from their mistakes. Usually, the vets aren't making the same mistake a second time. They get bombarded by fans like me and the rest of the people that tell them their mistakes is non-stop fans tweeting at them, messaging them, telling them what they did wrong, their family, their loved ones, be like, why'd you do that, you knucklehead? So they're gonna learn from that. They're gonna make sure they don't make those mistakes again. For the most part. Obviously you got a Russell, you got a Paul, you got an Anthony Douglas, you got people that do make the same mistakes over and over. I think I would be one of those players too, honestly. But for the most part, people learn from their mistakes and they get farther in the game because of it. Experience is key to these games. The more you play, the better you're gonna get. Now if you play 5,000 times, of course you're gonna get a reputation and it's gonna be a lot harder each time you play. But overall, for returning a second time, third time, you're pretty stacked against newbies who have never played again and are just completely out of their element, learning for the first time. They don't have the wits about them. They don't study these games like most players do. Not only that, you look at Deal or No Deal Island 2 right now, Parvati and David, they have a huge advantage because they know who each other are. Parvati knows who David is. She's the only one at this point that we're aware of. But because of that bond that they both played Survivor, they have a connection. They're naturally gonna work together so they can dog walk the rest of the competition. I mean, that's what Parvati and David said they were gonna do. They're gonna be mom and dad and they're gonna destroy the competition. When it comes to Dr. Will, Parvati, and David, I love them all 3 so much. They are my 3 favorite players of all time from any TV show. I want to break down who out of the winners I think is going to go the farthest because I do think a winner is going to go extremely far. I'm not saying they're going to win the whole thing, but at the end of the game, we'll definitely see one of the vets at the end. Don't know which one. I would love for it to be both Parvati. I mean, I would love for all three of them to be at the end, but that ain't gonna happen. So I would love if Parvati and David are there. I think that's the most likely, and I would love to see them continue to work together, especially because we got Survivor Australia versus the World coming up. But I'm very interested to see the dynamic between David and Parvati in this season and how it affects that show. So let's get into the rankings between Parvati, Dr. Will, and David. So you got David Genat, the Golden God, hands down one of my favorite players of all time. That man is impeccable when it comes to these games. He has so much strategy, so much social skills, so much charm. He brings in a special set of skills that most of the cast is not going to know about. Nobody except Parvati knows who he is. I think in the trailer, Dr. Will didn't know who he was because he said, what game have you won before? That sentence alone just shows how skilled David is, because another winner has recognized it. Game recognizes game, and that's why Dr. Will is going to target Parvati and David and not work with them, because he wants to go after the game. He knows he can dog walk all the rest of the people, but can he go against the champs? He wants the competition. He lives for the competition. He lives for the show. I think when you get into David, the key strengths that he has is he brings a set of both social and physical strength to the competition. He's gonna really beast through a lot of these competitions unless he throws them. I don't see him throwing them that much. Also, his social game is so good that I think he's gonna make that an advantage for everybody else in the game. People are gonna see that and normally see it as a threat, but they're gonna all think he's working with them and he's in their favor before he just boom, gets them in the back, boom, gets them in the back, boom, gets them in the back. That's my prediction. He's going to bring both of those strengths, and I think he's going to get people too quick before they even recognize it. If anything, I think Parvati will start turning on him and just be planting little seeds along the way that make the castmates see him as a bigger threat. As he tries to bring down his threat level, I think Parvati's going to kind of up it a little bit behind his back to make her go a little farther. That will be interesting. David's so smart though that he's going to see that coming. Man, we're about to see a war. I hope it doesn't become a war between them. If it's them two at the end, oh my gosh, let them walk away with the millions. Now, why I think David's gonna do significantly better than Dr. Will is David has a set of charm too. David, I mean, you saw in episode 1, Sydney was falling for David, a married man at that. So he has a very specific charm. Every game show that he's been on, he's used that. Dr. Will has a charm too, but it's a complete opposite type of charm. And I don't think that Dr. Will's charm is gonna work in this show as much, because you saw his entrance coming in already breaking up the team morale amongst them that I think Parvati and David are working hard to create. Parvati and David, I think, are working hard to create a team morale so that boom, they're sniping people when they don't see it. Dr. Will's gonna come in and he's gonna blow all that up. I think David's charm is going to be a little more deceptive than Dr. Will's because people are already turned against him, and I think just those few days before Dr. Will getting there that they had to really warm up to the contestants, build bonds with them, that's going to take them a lot farther, and I don't think Dr. Will's charm is going to be able to work. Also, Dr. Will's coming in so strong. He's still doing his same antics. I'm the best player. I'm blah, blah, blah. He did all that on Big Brother. I don't like none of you. I don't want to work with any of you. And that's the thing, is it works for him. Is it going to work here? I don't know. I don't want to doubt the man because he is one of the legends. He has pioneered the villain type for these shows. And I'm never going to count that man out, and I'm hoping he's going to do good. I never can root against Dr. Will. In my heart of hearts, I've been knowing these games a little bit better. I don't see it working out, but if it does, more power to you, Dr. Will. You're a legend for a reason. Here's another thing about David. He is the master of the double agent role. He plays sides so great. He makes everybody think that he's on their side when really he's playing double agent. That is his specialty. We saw it in Australian Survivor. I think we're definitely going to see it here. Him and Parvati are going to work really hard to make that happen, and I think he's going to be able to use that charm to deceive everybody and play the double agent role, and I don't think people are going to see it coming. He's going to be a comp beast, social beast, have the charm, and he's going to play the double agent role. I don't see David not going extremely far this season unless someone like Parvati or Dr. Will just blow up his game without him seeing it, and I do not see that coming with any of the newbie cast. They don't know him, and they don't know how skilled he is. If I had to place my bets between David, Dr. Will, and Parvati, I'm probably putting David at the top because I think his unknown history is going to make him excel really far into this game. The only way that's going to be destroyed is if Parvati comes in and destroys that. Dr. Will is suspicious of it. He knows something is going on. Will he figure that out? I don't know. He definitely knows he's good. I don't know if Dr. Will is going to be able to figure out the Australian Survivor. Now, let's go into Parvati because Parvati is the other Survivor player. Parvati has a history and people know her history. That's what makes her different from David. The only person that knows David's history is Parvati, but everybody knows Parvati's history. And I think that is a pro, and that people we have seen want to work with her. Everyone thinks they're keeping her secret. Everyone thinks that no one knows who she is, and she's made it feel like this exclusive one-on-one thing with everybody. She's building the bonds, but the minute that everybody finds out that they do know, that's gonna really hurt her, I think. But she's so charming too in her own way. She's so flirty with the guys and motherly now. Like, she has so many different attributes that she brings into it to make people feel close. I mean, she's the Black Widow for a reason. That I think she's still gonna go extremely far. The only way Dr. Will is coming after her, we know that's gonna happen. It'll be interesting to see her try and overcome that. I think she will overcome it, but it'll be interesting. I think it's gonna hurt her game in the long run. Her threat level is gonna go up because Dr. Will's gonna make it go up. Even if Dr. Will gets out, her threat level isn't gonna go down at that point. She's gonna have to work really hard. That's why I think David's gonna do better than her. I think the things that make Parvati stand out as an amazing player is she knows how to use her personality to lure people in. She has an impeccable social game. She is amazing at the social game. She has a killer instinct. Her instinct is unreal. She knows how to pick up on people quicker than anybody themselves. I think she can pick up on people before they even pick up on what they're about to do themselves. I think she can predict other people's moves before they even realize they're gonna make those moves. She's thinking so far ahead, and she knows people so well. Personalities, human nature. She has such a killer instinct, and she does not hold back. She's gonna get you before you even see it coming, before anybody else. Parvati has an ability to think several steps ahead, and she's not afraid to make big, bold, game-changing moves. And I think we're gonna see that this season. She's gonna make big, bold moves, and it's gonna be good. Not only is Parvati gonna make really big moves, she also is good at competitions. She's smart. Think about the first challenge. Let's switch these cases around so David can't figure it out. She's not dumb. She's really good at the comps. She was a comp beast on Survivor, so I don't think she'll be lacking there. And a little bit of an edge that I think she has over David in that area is people see David as the comp beast. People aren't gonna see Parvati as a comp beast, even though she is gonna be so good. Parvati is Parvati. She has the reputation she has for a reason. And I'll say this, watching Deal or No Deal Island 2, Parvati has just put in a strategy that I have never seen before in any veteran season. What she has done is she's isolated every single person that recognized her and made it feel inclusive to them, made them feel like they were in on her secret and that nobody else knew. That is genius. I have not seen that happen yet. I don't know if that's just because circumstances, people have big mouths, and maybe just randomly they've all one by one come up to her because they all wanted to secretly work with her. I'm curious the situations that's happened that we aren't seeing on the show that have led to them all telling her individually that they know who she is and not as a group, because I just haven't seen that happen before. But Parvati is a legend for a reason, and I see her going extremely far in this game. I would be surprised if she goes home early. Something big will have to happen, like Dr. Will coming in and blowing up her whole entire game like we know is about to happen. Boom, shada boom. I'm excited for it, sad about it. I wish they could have worked together. But honestly, I love Dr. Will. We'll get into him in a second. But I don't think David and Parvati... I think David and Parvati are a good matchup against Dr. Will, but I don't think they have too much to worry about because of the time they've had in the game so far apart from him. They've already had that time to build those relationships, build those connections, get through the first few challenges, eliminations, build the bond with the rest of the cast. Dr. Will's kind of at a disadvantage there. He's had his own advantage in the game by coming in a little bit later, but he's at a disadvantage when it comes to the social aspect because one, it's Dr. Will, but then also he hasn't had the time to form the relationships of the first day, the first challenge, all of that adrenaline. We're the cast, we're the family together, you know. There is some camaraderie there amongst the cast that he is now jumping into later on, and that's hard. Let's get into Dr. Will. Hands down, one of my favorite players of all time. He is my role model when it comes to Big Brother, and I have used him as the standard for strategy for such a long time. I don't think people could play like him except for him, which makes him so unique. I don't see him doing well this season, y'all. I hate to say it, but I don't think he cares enough to do that well, for one. But he's always been his strategy. Dr. Will has me puzzled. Dr. Will is somebody I would never want to play a game against because he's so good and he still has me puzzled. I feel like I have everybody else nailed. I can't nail Dr. Will's strategy. I can't nail Dr. Will's strategy because I can never play like him. Dr. Will not only originated the Puppet Master, he also pretty much started the strategy that no strategy is a strategy. And he has mastered that. He makes you think that he's not playing the game, he doesn't care, but he is. And it's scary good how effective it works. It worked on him in season 2, got him the win, worked on it all the way until Final 4 in season 7 where Janelle axed him. I think we're gonna see Parvati axe him a lot quicker. He acts like he doesn't care, and I'm convinced he doesn't care, but I know he does, but at the same time, does he? Does he really care what place he gets? He makes so much money. His legacy will always be there. So he is hard for me to grasp. And I think that's gonna scare these castmates. They're gonna see that. His threat level is gonna go through the roof because he's playing with Parvati and David. They're gonna see that and they're gonna axe that right away and get him out. They're not gonna play around with him. No, they're not gonna play games with Dr. Will. They're not gonna let him build his relationships, get any footing in this game. They're gonna try and eliminate him before he gets any footing. And I think it's gonna happen because this cast is a scared cast. They're competitive, like he said, but they're scared. I don't think that he's gonna be able to charm them enough going against David's charm and with the experience that they already have just with a couple days of being in the game. So there we have it. My predictions are we're gonna see David go the farthest, then Parvati, then Dr. Will in this game. When it comes to Parvati versus David versus Dr. Will, they all have their strengths, they all have their weaknesses. I don't think any newbie is any match. I think they might get lucky and beat one of them, but not based off strategy or social skills. I think just based off either a one-time competition win or luck with the banker where they get to call a shot. I think David's gonna go extremely far. Parvati and David, I'm interested to see them battle it out towards the end. I think they're gonna work really closely and then battle it out. And it's gonna be a good season. I didn't love Deal or No Deal Island 1, but I can already tell Deal or No Deal Island 2 is off to a great start. The fact that they got Dr. Will, Parvati, and David, my 3 favorite players of all time in one season, crazy. I can't wait.